bent, legs can be straight. Just do what feels good for you. Amanda already knows what I'm about to do. She's already doing it. So, from your lying down position, you can take a few moments here. You can, if you wish, take the hands up and overhead, bending into the elbows and allowing them to the elbows to stick out towards either side of the mat so that we open a little bit into the chest or the heart space. But be nice and relaxed in the hands. They can come right down to the crown of the head, or they can reach further away. If they reach further, then they're a wee bit more stress into the back of the shoulders. And then holding here, or breathing here. Just getting used to that feeling. And then we're going to windshield wiper the legs. So allow the legs to fall over to the left or the right. You decide which way you want to go to first, but let them fall towards the floor a little bit. You can adjust the feet to make it comfortable. So this shouldn't be sore or overly stressful. We're trying to just slowly bring movement into the body. You can continue to maybe look up to the ceiling, or maybe you want to take your gaze slightly towards the opposite direction of your knees. And we're just going to hang out here. No particular way that you need to breathe. We're just enjoying a gentle stretch into the body. Slow start to our practice. We've spent all day up and about. So we're just encouraging the liquid of the body back into the back of the body. When you next breathe in, lift the knees up, bring the head back towards center. And then we're going to swap to the other side. So adjusting the feet, allowing the knees to fall the opposite way. And again, either looking up towards the ceiling or maybe turning your head in the opposite direction of your knees. And we're just taking our time, getting an overall or an all-body feeling. Your breath at the moment can just be as it wants to be. Then again, knees coming up through center, moving to the opposite side. Head turns the opposite direction. Maybe feeling like a yawning or that kind of morning feeling. So I really like this movement in an evening or first thing in the morning. And then starting to link it with your breath. So maybe as you breathe in, you raise the knees up. As you breathe out, the knees fall to one side. Head turns to the opposite direction. Breathing in here again, knees come up. Breathing out, they fall to the other side. Just moving with your breath. Allowing a little bit of a massage to kind of start on either side of the pelvis, side to side. So we're waking up the spine just a little. Moving side to side, just where's comfortable for you. If you want to, you could start to introduce breath with sounds, or breathing to the rhythm of your body, your breath. You can make it audible so it sounds a bit like the ocean. This way you got a companion as you go through your practice. The audible breath can help you when we come to some of the more difficult or challenging poses that include balance or endurance. And we'll just do this a few more times. Once more to each side. And then bringing the knees back towards center. We're going to squeeze them in towards the chest. So squeezing the knees in, just maybe massaging side to side on the whole of the back, lying on the mat side to side. I'm on that creaky floorboard again. And then maybe taking the knees in a circular direction so that we massage into the sacrum, either side of the pelvis and the tailbones. We kind of pull the knees in and then push them away, taking that circular motion. And then going in the opposite direction. Moving with the breath. And then pulling the knees back in towards the chest again. I'm going to reach my left leg down towards the bottom of the mat, letting it lean or rest onto the floor so we're not holding any tension here. I'm going to take both my hands round or interlace the fingers and take them round the knee. And I'm just going to do some circles with the ankle. So just working in a little bit of mobility into the ankle. Any direction that feels good for you to begin with. And then the opposite way. Noticing if it's creaky or crunchy. You can point with the toes or curl the toes, you decide. Moving here. And then just gently reaching the foot up towards the sky. Maybe holding onto the back of your thigh. Maybe at the back of the knee. You can, if it feels good for you to do so, push away with the sole of the foot or the heel. It does mean your leg will become more active, but just slowly introduce it. Keep a softness in the knee. We don't want to stretch it out completely just yet. And then again, softening into the knee, pulling it in towards the belly, lifting that opposite leg that you reached away back in towards the knee or the chest. And then reaching the opposite, so the leg that was doing all the ankle movement, let it come down to the floor. So for me, it's my right leg. I don't know why I had to look at it to check there, but it's definitely the right leg. And again, just moving into the ankle, interlace the fingers over the knee or the shin, and just moving here. Noticing maybe that both ankles don't move exactly the same. I have more mobility in one than I do in the other. One does a really nice circle and the other one does a really bumpy circle. And then change the direction. Notice maybe the feeling of the muscles moving under the hands or the shin bone. And then again, reaching that leg away, nice and soft at first. Then maybe pushing away with the heel and the sole of the foot, stretching or lengthening down the back of the leg. Holding here, straightening a little, but keep that softness in the knee. And then again, pulling that knee down in towards the chest, lifting the leg that was stretched out and bringing it in. And then from here, we're going to take the legs a little bit. We're going to start to rock into our backs. We're eventually going to rock towards seated. So just backwards and forwards, moving. My goodness, I think the creaky floorboard here is getting worse. And eventually moving towards a seat. It must be all the yoga I do at this side of the room. So from the seat, we're going to come towards all fours. So you can cross the legs or you can lean to one side, but just bring yourself towards tabletop. I'm just going to change direction so I can see the screen. And then from tabletop, we're going to do a few cat-cow. So we're still working into the spine before we introduce a twist. So knees are about as wide as your hips. Toes can be flexed or feet can be flat. Arms or hands and wrists are about as wide as your shoulders. And as you breathe out, tuck the tailbone in, tuck the chin in, push the hands down into the ground, round into the shoulders, push the spine away for cat. As you breathe in, push the tailbone away, so as if to untuck it, moving through the spine, maybe looking towards the top of the mat or maybe towards the horizon. Do what feels good. Don't overly strain yourself. As you breathe out, rounding into the spine, rounding into the shoulders, pushing down into the hands. Breathing in, undulating through the spine, so releasing into the tailbone, pushing it out. Moving through the spine, looking towards the horizon. And then connecting with your breath, so breathing out. Breathing in. Just work with your breath. As you need to breathe out, move into cat. When you're ready to breathe in, slowly moving through cow. You can have a softness in the elbows when you come into cow. It can sometimes help with the shoulder blades, or softness in the belly. Breathing out, moving through cat. Just continue this in your own time, with your own breath. Change the tune slightly as well. So it's important to make sure the body is really alive or reawoken from the day before we move into our practice. And this is a really nice opportunity to tune into you, to tune into the breath with movement before we come to some of the slightly bigger holds. And then just coming to neutral when you're ready. So just softening into the back. And we're going to come to thread the needle, which is a favourite pose of mine because you can add on quite a lot to it as well. So keeping the knees roughly where they are. I take my knees ever so slightly wider, so just creating a little bit of a kind of triangle base with my knees towards my hips, but that's just what suits me. I like to take I'm going to start with my right hand coming towards the center, so I move it a little closer to the center line, and then we take a twist, reaching the left hand up, so we're looking towards the left, pushing down into the hand in the floor, reaching away with the upper hand, not taking too deep a twist here, but just opening into the body. As you next breathe out, you're going to take that left hand down and underneath the right arm, so that the left shoulder and it comes down onto the floor, the left side of the head comes down onto the floor, and your left palm is pointing up to the ceiling. You could just hold here, allowing the twist to come naturally, or you could take your right hand towards the edge of the mat and push it so that the body pushes away opposite direction from the hands, or the left hand that's reaching away, taking a slightly deeper twist. Again, there's the options here to push up off that right foot. So you push the right heel away, the right toes are into the ground. This is going to challenge your balance because you're going to have to balance more into that left shoulder. So you decide. Sometimes just keeping the knee down is all it needs to be. Making sure you don't lose your breath, or just because we're in a twist that you can't breathe. And we'll hold here for another 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. So to come out, if you had a leg up or your knee off the floor, bringing it back down, taking the right hand a bit closer beside the face, and then pushing into that right hand, lifting the body up as you release the left hand, taking it back towards that opposite twist. Again, noticing where you feel it, or maybe where there's a little bit more opening. Bringing the left hand down, we're going to swap to the other side. So just making sure your base feels comfortable. And then reaching the right hand up, taking that twist, not taking it too deep on this first round. And then when you're next breathing out, you're going to take that right hand down and under, reaching it towards the opposite side. Bringing the side of the face down. Again, just holding here for a moment, noticing how this feels. Then maybe walking that left hand towards the left edge of the mat, pushing the hand down into the floor so that you can push the back away, taking a slightly stronger twist. You have options here as well. You could rise up on that left, off that left knee, pushing the heel away, creating a bit of height in the hip. It's going to challenge your balance a little, but you don't need to. But be playful, be creative, do or move as you think you need to, as long as you stay safe. Remember, this is always your practice as much as it is mine. So if you're listening to your body, or you know some of the poses that we're doing, you have the freedom to be creative or play about in some of them, or introduce movement when the rest of us are still. Do what feels good. And then again, just holding on here for 5. 4. 3. 2. Sorry, and 1. Okay, from here, if your knee was up, bringing it back down, bringing the left hand closer to the face. Push into that left hand, lifting the upper body so that you can slowly unwind or unfurl, reaching that hand up towards the sky. Taking the twist here. And then bringing that hand down onto the floor. We're going to come to puppy pose, or Anahastasana. So the knees stay where they are, but maybe take your forearms down onto the mat. This would be your first stage. So you can take the kind of elbows wide and take the hands together, so it's a bit like a tripod, but your bum stays high. You get a kind of caving or hollowing feeling sometimes in the abdomen. Either way, your belly, your tummy. You can, if you wish, take the forehead down to the floor, releasing into the shoulders so that the kind of, it feels like the armpits are coming down towards the mat. This might be it for you. You might feel some compression in the back of the shoulders. Or you could reach the hands towards the top edges or top corners of the mat, lifting the forearms off so that you're balancing with the hands, the head, and the knees. Maybe feeling an extension across the underside or the front of the body. And then last but not least, if you still feel like you need a little more, you could lift the head and bring the chest or the chin down towards the floor. So it's going to create quite a lot of compression across the back or the top of the back between the shoulders. Do what feels good for you. And we're going to hang out here for another 3. 2. 1. If you had your chest or your chin pushing down into the mat, maybe bringing your forehead back. And then slowly starting to maybe walk the hands back towards the shoulders. Starting to lift yourself back up towards all fours or tabletop. Taking a little breath here. So I've been doing a bit of work over the weekend, working on maybe not so much timings of the overall practice, but timings at how long I hold people or how long we stay in a particular pose. Because as a teacher, I have the awful habit of sometimes counting a lot quicker than people actually breathe. So I've been working with a drum beat. So you might be in longer than you're normally expecting with me in a couple of the poses. So we're going to do a little moon flow with our own breath or our own movement. So the knees again can stay where they are, toes can be flat. We're going to bring ourselves back to what feels like child's pose, or it is really child's pose for this first part. Or your variation of child's pose, you might need to be a little higher. As you next breathe in, push down into the hands as if you're dragging the body up, rounding into the spine and the shoulders, pulling yourself up towards tabletop. Then slowly allowing the pelvis to drop as you breathe out towards upward facing dog or a variation of cobra. When you next breathe in, pull the belly in, pull yourself back towards tabletop. Breathing out, bringing yourself back down to child's pose. Breathing in, lifting, pulling yourself up. Breathing out towards upward facing dog or cobra. Breathing in, pull the belly in. Breathing out, releasing away. Just continuing this in your own breath. So as you breathe in, lift yourself up. As you breathe out, release into the pelvis, holding more of the body's weight in your hands, maybe even pulling the shoulder blades together. As you breathe in, pull the belly in, pull yourself back towards tabletop. Breathing out all the way to child's pose. You can be creative or you can take your time here. It's up to you. Sometimes some people like to do the first movement in one breath, so they breathe in as they pull up. They continue to breathe in as they come to upward facing dog. They then breathe out as they move back through tabletop all the way to child's pose. I like to do it in 2 breaths up, 2 breaths down. I like to take my time in a warm-up. But you have the freedom to move a little stronger, a little bit more fiery. Slowly moving towards a slightly, maybe fuller version of upward facing dog. So maybe the knees lift off the floor, pushing down into the fronts of the feet, creating more of a back bend, more of a shoulder stretch. Just do what feels nice. There's a lot going on in the world at the moment. We're venturing out more. There's more enticing us outside to do more things. but it doesn't always feel normal when we're out there. So your practice isn't necessarily a chance to escape, but it's a chance to connect with you. Maybe tapping into that spiritual side of yourself, which is sometimes found when you connect breath with movement. We'll do a couple more of these. Doing at least one more full moon flow. When you next breathe in and bring yourself towards tabletop, just holding there for a moment. And then when you're ready, tucking into the toes, we're going to lift to downward facing dog. So take your own journey there. There's no right or wrong way to get here. Adjust your hands and your toes as you need to. Hover the knees, maybe lifting the bum and the hips high. Ooh, and then coming over, walk the dog. So walking the dog, the legs sometimes come a little further back than they might normally for a downward facing dog. And then we come up onto the ball of one foot, down into the heel of the other. Don't lose the foundation of your hands. So spread the fingers nice and wide. Feel strong in that foundation. Maybe a bit of length through the arms. You can let go of holding tension in the head or trying to keep it in a particular position. Let it drop a little. It feels nice. Or it might feel nice. And then I always say this is the perfect opportunity to check in with the back of your legs. So if you're feeling tight, be aware of that as we go through our practice. Don't overdo it. If you feel it needs extra length, you can encourage that as we flow. You don't have to find it straight away. And just walking the dog here or introducing movement that feels good to you. Sometimes little side movements into the body can help stretch into the intercostal muscles. And just doing whatever you need to for 3. 2. And 1. And then take your time. We're going to walk our feet up towards the top of the mat in between our hands. So take little steps. Pull the belly in, soften into the knees. Notice how far you get before you have to maybe sometimes take the feet out to the side and up. Trying to walk your feet all the way till you need to take your fingers, your hands off the mat. We're going to come to a little half lift here. So can be quite relaxed, breathing in, straightening into the legs and the back, maybe taking the hands a little higher. When you're ready, we're going to come to forward fold. We're going to hang out here. So maybe you want to hold on to the elbows. Maybe you want to wrap your hands around the back of the legs, almost like an anchor. Maybe you want to let the hands hang like a dangle in yin where the arms are long. You decide. You can, if you want to as well, create a bit of space between your feet, so taking them a little wider. This can sometimes make the base a little stronger so that you can bring your attention to all of the toes and the heels, feeling grounded. My knees are bent slightly, my belly is touching my thighs. If I want to go deeper, I pull the belly in a little, let the upper body hang. We won't be here for much longer, just another 3. 2. and 1. So we're getting ready to come to rising. So maybe really feeling like you're kind of pushing the feet down into the floor. Your hips maybe drop a little, your knees bend, starting to lift yourself up. So moving through the legs first, arms, head, shoulders are heavy. As you lengthen into the legs, maybe pull the belly in, start to round, or unround, I guess I should say, through the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae. Slowly moving your way to the top. I put on an extra t-shirt because I was really cold today, and I've now started doing yoga, and I am absolutely roasting already with a vest. It doesn't matter, the vest is almost nothing, but the t-shirt's slightly thermal. Okay, we're going to go through a few sun salutations A. So we're going to work to kind of bring full movement into the body. We'll take our time. You can have a softness in your knees as we go through this for the full sun salutation. We're going to do, I think, 3 or 4 maybe in total of sun salutation A. So bringing heat into the body. So from the top of your mat, spreading the toes nice and wide. Feel good in the foundation. We're going to breathe in, reaching the hands up. Feel like the rib cage lifts as the fingers reach away. But try not to let the shoulders come too high. We'll take an extra breath in here. Breathing out, folding forwards as you wish. Take your hands down to the floor for Uttasana, forward fold. Breathing in for a half lift, Ardha Uttasana. I've got a blocked nose, I just can't breathe in through my nose. Breathing out, placing the hands down into the floor, stepping one foot, then the other to plank. Lowering down through Chaturanga. Push up through the hands, upward facing dog. Rolling over on the toes or come through the knees, tucking the toes, downward facing dog. You decide, do you want to walk the dog or have some stillness? We're here for 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Softening or bending into the knees. We're going to step, jump or hop our way back towards the top of the mat, feet between the hands. Take a half lift here. So straightening through the legs a little, pull the belly in, long spine. Breathing out, folding forwards, maybe introducing a little bit more length through the back of the legs, Uttasana. And then breathing in, rising up to mountain pose, reaching the hands up with you, taking them up overhead. Breathing out here, taking that extra breath, reaching the hands up again. Breathing out, pull the belly in, forward fold, Uttasana, down to the mat. Breathing in, half lift, Ardha Uttasana. Breathing out, step or jump your way back towards plank. Remember, your knees can always come to the floor. Chaturanga, lowering down. Breathing in, upward facing dog. Breathing out, coming through the toes or the knees, downward facing dog. For 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Bending in at the knees, step or jump your way back towards the top of the mat. Once you're there, breathing in, head up. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathing in, rising to mountain pose, taking the hands up with you. You can keep them reaching away here as you breathe out, or down by your side. Breathing in again, taking the hands up, mountain pose. Breathing out, pull the belly in, folding forwards, Uttasana. Remember, the straighter your legs, the more stretch you'll get. Ardha Uttasana, half lift, breathing in. Breathing out, step or jump your way back towards plank, lowering down through chaturanga. Push up through the hands, upward facing dog. Rolling over on the toes, downward facing dog. 4, 5. 4. 3. Really feeling the foundation through the feet and the hands. Pull the belly in just a little. Maybe pushing those hips or bums up towards the sky. 2. And 1. Softening in at the knees. Step or jump your feet back between your hands. Take a half lift when you get there, Ardha Uttasana. Breathing out, forward fold. Breathing in, rising up to mountain pose, taking the hands high. And then taking your hands down by your sides. So we're going to do Surya Namaskar C, or Sun Salutation C. So it starts the exact same way, but we do a low lunge on both sides, or both legs, a low lunge halfway through. Rather than doing Warrior 1, we're going to save that for the main part of the practice. So we start in the exact same way. Toes spread nice and wide, nice and long through the body. Kind of feel like you're pulling the buttocks in just a little, or the tailbone is ever so slightly tilted as you breathe in, reaching the hands up. So we're nice and long, no back bends here, nice and straight. Breathing in, we forward fold, Uttasana. Pull the belly in, bringing the hands down towards the floor. Bend the knees if you need to. Breathing in for a half lift, head raises, straight legs. Breathing out, we step back to plank or chaturanga, lowering down towards the floor. Breathing in, upward facing dog. Breathing out, rolling over on the toes, coming towards downward facing dog. Left foot stays where it is, right foot lifts up, pulls in towards the belly and the chest, steps forward in between the hands, coming down onto the left knee for our low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Breathing in, we're going to reach the hands up towards the sky. We're going to hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Pull the belly in, folding over that foot. Push into both hands, tuck the left toe, rise up off the left knee. We're going to step that right foot back to plank. Lower down through chaturanga. Push up through the hands, upward facing dog. Rolling over on the toes again, downward facing dog. This time the right foot stays where it is, left foot reaches away, then the knee pulls in towards the belly and the chest, stepping that left foot down in between your hands. Come down onto the right foot this time, maybe taking that right knee, taking the right foot flat. Breathing in, Anjaneyasana, reaching the hands up for your low lunge. Again, breathing here for 3, 2, and 1. Breathing out, taking the hands over the foot towards the floor, tucking the right toes, lifting up off the right knee, stepping the left foot back this time to plank, lowering down through chaturanga. Push up through the hands, upward facing dog. Rolling or coming through the knees to downward facing dog for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Softening in at the knees, step or jump your way back towards the top of the mat. Both feet between your hands, breathing in, half lift. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathing in, rising all the way up to mountain pose. And then breathing out, let your hands come down by your side, Samastitihi. So we should be feeling, or hopefully you're feeling a little bit warmer. We're going to work through the first part of our flow. Sometimes I don't know where the time goes in some of the practices that we do. So we're going to work, rather than stepping all the way back to downward facing dog, we'll start the same. We'll breathe in, reach up. We'll breathe out, fold forwards. We'll take a half lift. From this half lift, soften into the knees. We're going to, like I always say, it's a bit like a flamingo. We lift the right foot off the floor, pushing down into the left. And we're going to step back with the right toes. Let the right toes touch. Let the right heel touch. Push down into the left foot and we'll rise up to warrior 1. So depending how far back, we bend into that front knee and we take a little bit of a back bend. And then we're going to do a few things here, working to wake up the body, creating a bit of movement. But rather than going through downward facing dog, we'll lift one leg and we'll step back from our from our half lift. So starting as we have for the practice so far, coming towards the top of the mat, spread nice and long through the toes. So spread nice and long, spread nice and wide through the toes. This is going to be your base. Pushing down into the feet. Breathing in, reach the hands up, creating length. Breathing out, pull the belly button in as you fold forwards. Breathing in for a half lift. So lifting the head. As you breathe out here, soften into the knees. Make sure the fingertips or the hands can touch the floor. Push down into the left foot, reaching the right foot off the floor, pulling it in like a flamingo. Then reaching it as far back as you can, letting the toes come down as you bend into the left knee. Then push back into the right heel. Push down into both feet as you reach the hands up towards warrior 1. In warrior 1, we bend into the front knee. So this time for this version, it's the left knee. We push down into the right heel. So the heel that's pushing away behind. You can, if you want to, for this first one, take your hands to your hips. You want to make sure your hips are in line with the front of the mat. So if you're pointing to one side or pointing out, you're not quite right with your back foot. So the back foot, the toes are off center line, roughly about 30 to 45 degrees, just a little. Not like warrior 2 and not facing exactly the same like they would in crescent lunge, just slightly sticking out. He says, falling over now. Bringing the hands back up. See if you can squeeze the palms together, maybe making a diamond shape. Let the elbows pop out if you have to a little. Bend into that front knee, push back into the right heel. Start to maybe look up towards the ceiling. If you can, maybe you can look right up towards the palms. We're going to hold here for 5, 4, challenging your balance. 3, squeezing the inner thighs together as well. 2, and 1. Keep the hands where they are, but bring your view back towards the horizon so you're looking forwards. Take the hands apart. As you breathe out, you're going to reach forward, keeping a bend in that knee. So breathing out to reach. Breathing in here. Breathing out, sweeping the hands back. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, folding slightly, reaching the hands away. Breathing in, reaching up. And out. And in. Reaching away again. Breathing in. Last time, reaching away, but stay here with the hands away and the body slightly forward. Pull the belly in, really push down into that left foot or the foot that's at the front. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Breathing in, reaching the hands up. Breathing out, we're going to fold over the front left foot. So take the hands to the floor. Oh, we're going to step the left foot back to plank. We're going to lower down through chaturanga. Push up through the hands, upward facing dog. Rolling over on the toes to downward facing dog. Then we're going to step back to the top of the mat. So breathing, step your both feet up in between your hands. Half lift when you get there. Breathing out as you fold forwards. Breathing in, rising to mountain pose, taking the hands high. Hands down by your side, Samastitihi. Okay, we're going to go for the other side this time. So just taking a little breather. When you're ready, push down into all of the toes, spreading them nice and wide. Strong foundation, breathing in, reaching the hands up. Breathing out, folding forwards all the way down. Breathing in for a half lift. As you breathe out this time, bend into the knees as much as you need to at least bring your fingertips to the floor. This time, push down into the right foot, lift the left foot off the floor, a bit like a flamingo. Reach the foot out behind, bending or keep that softness in the right knee, taking the left toes to the floor, left heel to the floor. When you feel confident in your foundation, rising up towards your warrior one. Again, we're just for this first one on this side, bring your hands to your hips. Make sure your hips are in line with the front of the mat, so you're not pointed off to either side. So adjusting your back leg if you need to. Then bend into that front knee, push down into the back leg, all the way down to the heel. Squeeze the inner thighs together, that can help create balance. Breathing in, reach the hands up again, squeezing the palms together. You can have a softness in the elbow, especially if it feels tight around the shoulder. From here, don't lose that foundation in the feet. Looking up towards the sky, or maybe looking up to the palms. 4, I can't remember what I did last time. 3, 2, and 1. Bringing the eyes back towards the horizon. As you breathe out, reach the hands forward. So we'll hold here for 3. Bending into the knee, that can help your upper body. Pull the belly button in a little bit. Concentrate on the breath. As you breathe out, sweep the hands back. Breathing in, sweeping them all the way up. Breathing out, folding and reaching back. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Once more, breathing in. This time as you breathe out, reaching the hands back and holding there. Keeping a softness or bend into that front right knee, pushing away into the foundation, Pull the belly in. Holding here for another 3, 2. Lengthen the spine. And 1. Breathing in, slowly taking the hands up. As you breathe out, we're going to fold over that front foot, taking the hands to the floor. We're going to step the right foot back to plank, lowering down through chaturanga. Push into the hands, upward facing dog. Rolling over on the toes or making your way towards downward facing dog. Taking a breath here, then we're going to step towards the top of the mat, so bending into the knees. Hop, jump, walk to the top of the mat. Half lift here. Breathing out, forward fold. Breathing in, rising all the way up to mountain. Breathing out, hands down by your side. Well done. Whew, it's muggy here. I'm just going to open the window. So we're kind of working our way down towards our seated postures. Well, that's the aim of the next bit. And when we come down, we'll work into the legs a little, then we'll work towards shoulder stands and have a nice cozy time for Shavasana. So bringing yourself for our last little flow that will bring us down to the floor. Toes roughly touching, or toes nice and wide, feet nearly touching. Breathing in for mountain pose, reaching the hands up. Breathing out, pull the belly button in, folding forwards. Breathing in for a half lift. Breathing out, we're going to push down into the left foot, lift the right leg off. Step that right foot back nice and long. Let the toes touch. Let the heels touch. Warrior 1 from here. Breathing in, reaching the hands up. Squeeze the palms together, sink into the foundation. So bend into that left knee, push down into the right heel. Maybe look up towards the sky or all the way up to your palms. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. As you breathe out, you're going to sweep the hands completely back as you fold forwards. Breathing in, reaching up. Sorry, we're doing the wavy thing again. Sorry, guys. That was my description. So breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, folding, hands go back. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, folding forwards, hands go back. One more, breathing in. Breathing out, hands go back, holding here. Now you can, if you want to, straighten into that front leg if you want the pyramid feeling, or keep a bend in the knee. You don't need to straighten, that's just an option. You can follow me, keeping the knee bent for 2. And 1, reaching the hands up. Then we're going to fold, taking the hands to the floor. But this time, rather than going through chaturanga or downward facing dog, we're going to walk that back foot a little closer and see if we can lift it off the floor. Pull the knee in towards the belly and the chest, stepping the right foot down beside the left at the top of the mat. Take a half lift, breathing in. Breathing out, folding forwards. Breathing in, rising all the way to mountain, holding here. As you breathe out, folding back down again, Uttasana. We're going to do the last side, last flow. Breathing in, half lift. Breathing out, taking the fingertips to the floor at least. Bend into the knees if you need to. Push down into the right foot, lifting the left foot up towards the bum or the hip. Stepping that left foot back nice and long. Bending into the right knee, let the left toes touch, let the left heel touch. Pushing into the foundation, rising up to warrior one, taking the hands with you, squeezing the palms together, sinking into the pose a little. So bend into the right knee, push down into the left heel. Maybe looking up towards the sky, maybe looking up towards your palms. So taking the head back slightly. Wherever you are, holding for 3, 2, and 1. Taking the eyes back towards the horizon. As you breathe out, you fold forward slightly, sweeping the hands back. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, folding, sweeping the hands back. Breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, folding, taking the hands back. Breathing in, reaching up. This time as you breathe out and take the hands back, holding there. Again, if you want to, you could straighten into that front leg, pull the belly button in, keeping the hands reaching away. Or just follow me, holding the warrior one foundation for 2. And 1. Breathing in, sweep or take the hands up. As you breathe out this time, we fold all the way to the floor. Except rather than going through chaturanga again, we're going to walk that back foot a little closer. Push down into both hands, push down into the right foot. See if we can lift, squeezing the knee in towards the belly and the chest. Stepping the left foot down beside the right. Take a half lift here, breathing in. Breathing out, fold forwards. Breathing in, rising up to standing. Hands down by your side, Samastitihi. Haven't quite got enough space there. Okay. We're going to make it easy. Grab a sip of water if you would like to. I am. So we're going to come down onto the floor now. So just bringing yourself down for a seat. We're going to work into Dandasana, seated staff pose, and Paschimottanasana. So I'll sit side on for these. Then we'll work in towards our shoulder stand prep. And then the option to go into shoulder stand for a little bit longer this week. So sitting nice and tall. Again, if you know that you can't sit up straight, pop a block or a cushion underneath your bum, give yourself a little bit of height, or allow yourself to fold forward slightly. Sometimes even just rolling up the yoga mat into a few times allows you to have something to sit on. Or if you're lucky enough to have a wall, take yourself to a wall to lean on. Otherwise, we're trying to sit nice and tall. Imagine a bit of string coming from the crown of the head all the way to the root. And then from all the way to your hips, to your heels. Flex the toes back as if they're pulling towards you. Take your hands down the side of the body. Opening through, or feel the collarbones open as the shoulder blades pull together. Allowing you to stay really active in this seated posture. We're going to hold here for 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Oh, soften just a little. That is a killer sometimes when you're holding it that strongly. Okay, we're going to go for Paschimottanasana, so a forward fold bend. You can reach for your toes if you want to, or you could reach for your shins or your ankles. If you need to soften at the knees, you can if it helps you reach the feet. Then you can start to straighten into the legs. Otherwise, sliding the hands down the body, pull the belly button in, reaching for wherever you can get to. Once you're there, I always try and encourage you to take a breath, lengthen through the spine, soften into the shoulders, then fold a little. Using the part of the body that you're holding on to as a kind of anchor. for this first one. For another 4. 3. 2. And 1. Head up. Breathing out to release. This time we're going to take the hands high first. So reaching the hands up towards the sky. Pull the belly button in. Folding from the hips as you come forwards, or just at the waist, I guess we would say. Reaching the hands. Maybe you could reach a little further this time. Holding on again. Breathing in, head up. Breathing out, almost trying to pull yourself further forwards rather than down towards the legs, pulling the head or reaching the head towards the toes. Wherever you are for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, breathing in, head up. Breathing out to release. We're going to come down onto our backs. We're going to come down onto our backs with our knees bent. So we're coming back towards static back press. Except we're going to do a version of bridge. Or bridge posture. So knees are bent. Maybe your heels are close enough to just about skiff them with your fingers if you were reaching them towards the heels. Don't have them too close, otherwise it's a bit too much pressure on the pelvis to lift. Take your hands towards the edge of the mat so your arms reach out roughly 45 degrees. Palms push down into the ground. We're going to come to a bridge pose, so bring your awareness. Maybe close your eyes. Feel the toes spreading nice and wide, same as you would as if you were standing doing mountain pose. Don't let the knees fall out wide. Keep them squeezed in a little. They don't have to touch, but don't let them fall out. Push down into the toes and the heels. Push down into the palms. See if you can then lift the pelvis up. So pushing the pelvis up towards the ceiling. You'll feel the spine lifting off. The higher the pelvis goes, the more pressure you'll feel in your shoulders. So we're going to hold bridge pose. But bring your attention to the soles of the feet. Are you still pushing down through all of the toes and the heels, the outside of the foot, the inside of the foot? Are your legs nice and active all the way through the calf, quad and hamstring? Holding here. This is where my teacher in Ashtanga says, relax your bum, Graham. But I can't. So it shouldn't be, all of this shouldn't be coming from your butt. It should be coming from the legs as well. For 2 and 1. Slowly lowering the hips down to the floor, or the pelvis, I should say. Noticing when you come down, do you have a tingling sensation in your legs? If you do, it means you were working them. So from here, we're going to come towards our shoulder stand prep. So the hands can stay where they are, but bring the knees in towards the chest so the feet come off the floor. And then we're going to work on what we've worked on for the last couple of weeks. So push down into the palms, maybe pull the knees in towards the chest, reach the legs up a little, slowly rolling through the back, coming down. So just doing this 10 times, pushing into the hands, kicking the legs up or taking the knees back towards the head so that you get a rocking motion through the spine, bringing them down, lifting up, slowly back down. The slower you come down, the more you work your core. So the knees kind of pull in, the legs kick up, slowly lowering back down. 5 more, knees pull in, legs kick up, slowly lowering back down. Just doing this in your own time. The slower you make the transition back to the floor, the more control you'll have lifting in. just getting used to that feeling again of the back lifting up, some weight coming towards the shoulders. Make sure when you do this, especially as we move to the next bit, don't move your neck at any time. Keep looking either up towards your feet or up towards the ceiling. So push down into your hands. This time, pull the knees in towards the chest and kick the legs up. Then take your hands towards the lower part of your back, kind of where your hips meet your lower back, holding there. So you're making a bit of a kind of a right angle or a shelf edge with your elbows in your hands, so that you can slowly start to straighten maybe through the thighs. Your knees can be soft. Feel the pressure coming down to the heart, to the top of the back, in between the shoulder blades in particular. Slowly reaching the feet up towards the sky. I'm going to come down out of mine just so I can look and see what you guys are up to. So just continue this shoulder stand in your own way. You can keep a softness in the knees. The more you walk your hands up your back, the more reach you'll get with your overall body. You can reach with the toes or the soles of the feet. Do what feels nice. It's nice to change the direction of energy at the end of our practice. And then when you're ready, slowly maybe bringing the knees towards the chest. If you do other poses, please feel free, for those that do halasana. Otherwise, bringing the legs down, bringing the hands to the floor, and then slowly lowering down. This is where we do a version of Matsyasana, or fish pose. So because we're not in a class, it's easier to just lie completely straight, but like you would in Shavasana, but with your legs together. And just turn slowly, taking your head looking towards the left. The body stays straight, but we're moving into the neck, taking it to the right. Through center towards the left. Back to center to the right. It's a gentler way of just releasing into the neck. And then when you're ready, coming to Shavasana of your choice, or corpse pose, or coming to seated meditation, child's pose, whatever your body needs to close your practice, you decide. Take yourself there for a few minutes. And then really slowly, in your own time, maybe just expanding into the breath to begin with. Bringing that awareness back into the body, back into the space. Slowly reawakening from your Shavasana. If you want to, remember you can stay here. Slowly introducing more movements if you do. Reawakening the body bit by bit. Fingers, toes. And then listen to what it needs. Curling into a ball. Stretching out. Rolling to one side. You decide. Reawakening from our Shavasana is like reawakening the new from our practice. And when you're ready, slowly making your way towards a seat if you wish to join me in closing our practice. We're going to close tonight's practice chanting Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Hi. So may peace and peace and peace be with you. So if you wish to join me, you could take your hands into prayer towards the heart center, or maybe taking your hands over your heart. Do what's natural to you. Maybe bowing the head as you breathe in towards the belly and the lungs. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And thank you for sharing your Monday night practice with me. I don't know about you, but I was shocked when I looked at my watch and it was 6:30. The practices over the last week or so seem to be flying in when I'm doing them.